Hello students, how are you? I hope everyone is keeping in good health by the grace of God. So dear students, let me introduce myself. My name is Julie Pachow and I am an assistant teacher from Government Girls Higher Secondary School, Dima Hasao Haflong. So dear students, today I will be taking your English class and our lesson for today is the poem A Legend of the Northland written by Phoebe Cary from the English textbook Beehive. So dear students, before we begin the poem, I want you to know something about the writer because it is always helpful, it is very good to know something about the writer. So Phoebe Cary was born on September 4, 1824. She was an American poetess. She was a sister of Alice Cary, who was also a poetess. Both the sisters co-published poems in 1849 and then each went on to publish volumes of their own. Phoebe Cary died on July 27, 1871. So dear students, that was a background of Phoebe Cary and now we will begin with the poem. A Legend of the Northland written by Phoebe Cary is actually a very beautiful poem. A Legend of the Northland is a ballad. Now students, what is a ballad? A ballad is a poem which relates stories in short stanzas. So in this poem altogether we have 16 stanzas and each of these stanzas comprise of 4 lines each. So this story is about Saint Peter and an old woman. Now, who is Saint Peter? Saint Peter was an apostle of Jesus Christ. An apostle means a follower or a disciple of Jesus Christ. So this is the story about Saint Peter and an old woman. So dear students, we will start the lesson. So all of you open your textbook. Away, away in the Northland, where the hours of the day are few, and the nights are so long in winter that they cannot sleep them through. So here, Northland means the areas or the places that are situated in the North Pole. So dear students, maybe you have read some fairy tale books, and all these fairy tale books starts with long ago, once upon a time. So here also in this poem, the poem starts with away, away in the Northland. So here the people of the Northland, they says that the hours of the day are very short and the nights are very long. So dear children, you know that through experience, you know that during the winter season, days are very short and nights are very long. So even here in the North Pole, that is in the Northland, the people experience a very short duration of daytime and a longer period of night. So when they sleep at night and then when they wake up, they find that it is still night. So they say that they cannot sleep throughout the night. So next stanza. Where they harness the swift reindeer to the sledges when it snows, and the children look like bears' cubs in their funny furry clothes. So here furry clothes means dresses or clothes that are made from fur. Where they harness the swift reindeers to the sledges. So here sledges means a kind of cart or a vehicle which is driven by animals. And these sledges are used for transportation, they are used for carrying loads, passengers, etc. So the people of the Northland use sledges which are driven by reindeers. So reindeers are animals which belong to the deer family. So dear students, maybe you have seen the picture of Santa Claus riding on his sledge which are driven by reindeers. And this type of vehicles or carts are specially designed to travel in the snow. So the people of the North region, they used to use the sledges which are driven by the reindeers. And the children used to wear a kind of furry clothes in order to protect themselves from the cold. And they look so cute, they look so sweet that they almost look like the bear's cubs. The bear's cubs means the young ones of a bear. So let us go to the next stanza. They tell them a curious story. I don't believe 'tis true, and yet you may learn a lesson if I tell the tale to you. So here they means the elder people, the senior citizens, and them means the younger generation, that is the young children. So in the Northland, the people, the senior citizens used to tell them a very interesting story to the younger children. And the writer says that she herself does not believe the story to be true. But since the story has a moral lesson, she says that she will tell the story to you. So let us go to the next stanza. Once when the good Saint Peter lived in the world below and walked about it, preaching just as he did, you know. So here the story goes like this. So you know who is Saint Peter? Saint Peter was an apostle of Jesus Christ. Now, apostle means a follower, a disciple. So when Saint Peter was on earth, he used to travel around the earth and he used to preach about the word of God. So preaching here means giving a religious talk. So he used to travel around the world preaching about the words of God. So let us go to the next stanza. He came to the door of a cottage in traveling around the earth, where a little woman was making cakes and baking them on the hearth. So here hearth means a fireplace. So when Saint Peter was traveling around the world preaching about the word of God, suddenly he came upon the house of an old woman. So he was very happy to go there, and he saw that there was an old woman and she was making cakes in the fireplace. Next stanza. And being faint with fasting, for the day was almost done, he asked her from her store of cakes to give him a single one. So Saint Peter by then was very hungry, he was on fast, he was tired, and so he was so happy when he saw the old woman with her cakes. So he requested her to give him one single piece of cake which the old woman had kept in the shelf. So let us go to the next stanza. So she made a very little cake, but as its baking lay, she looked at it and thought it seemed too large to give away. So the old lady was not willing to part with the cake that she had already made. So she thought of baking another cake. And so she started to bake another cake. But as she started to bake the cake, she found that the cake that she baked was too big for her to give it away to him. So next stanza. Therefore she needed another and still a smaller one, but it looked, when she turned it over, as large as the first had done. So after this, she started to make another cake, and after baking, she found that still the cake seemed very big to part away with the cake. So she was not willing to give away the cake to him. So let us go to the next stanza. Then she took a tiny scrap of dough and rolled it flat and baked it thin as a wafer, but she couldn't part with that. So here dough means it's a kind of paste which is made from flour, and these are used for making cakes, pastries, chapatis, rolls and all this. So she took a tiny scrap means a small amount of the dough, and she started to roll it and rolled it so flat that it became so thin as a wafer. But see, look at the old woman. It proved that she is really a miser, because after baking it, and she could not part away with that too. So she was really a very miser woman. For she said, my cakes that seem too small when I eat of them myself are yet too large to give away. So she put them on the shelf. So here the old lady is justifying herself. So what she's saying is that when she eats the cake herself, she finds that it is too small. But when it is time for her to share it with others, she finds that it is too big. So that was her justification, saying that the cake is too small when she eats. So here it shows that she is indeed a miser woman, that she is very selfish. Then good Saint Peter grew angry, for he was hungry and faint, and surely a woman was enough to provoke a saint. Provoke means to make someone angry. So at this, Saint Peter grew so angry. He was on the verge of fainting. He was tired. And he was so angry because the woman could not give him a single piece of cake. So he was very angry. By this time, he was so irritated, he got frustrated, and he was on the verge of fainting. So he became very, very angry. And he said, "You are far too selfish to dwell in a human form, to have both food and shelter, and fire to keep you warm." So Saint Peter grew angry and told the woman that she is too selfish. She is not fit to live in a human form. She had the comfort of her kitchen, she had the comfort of her house, so she had everything that she could want. But she was so selfish that Saint Peter said that she is not fit to live in a human form. "Now you shall build as the birds do, and shall get your scanty food by boring and boring and boring all day in the hard dry wood." So here boring means to dig holes in the wood. So at this, Saint Peter grew so angry that he cursed the old lady and told her that from now on you will have to work hard like the bird. The bird gets its food by digging holes, by boring in the wood. They get insects, worms like that, not for food. So he said that from now on you are not fit to be a human being. You are going to live a very hard life. I'm going to turn you into a bird. Then up she went through the chimney, never speaking a word, and out of the top flew a woodpecker, for she was changed to a bird. So at this, when Saint Peter cursed her, suddenly what happened? The old lady flew up through the chimney without speaking any word. She did not say anything. And after that, from the top, out flew a woodpecker. So a woodpecker is a bird. So she was turned into a bird. She had a scarlet cap on her head, and that was left the same. But all the rest of her clothes were burnt, black as a coal in the flame. So at that time, the old lady was wearing a cap. So scarlet means bright red. So she was wearing a bright cap on her head. And as she flew up through the chimney, all her clothes got burnt and her clothes became black as a coal, except for her cap. And every country schoolboy has seen her in the wood, where she lives in the trees till this very day, boring and boring for food. So here in this last stanza, we find that till today, till this present day, some of the school-going children used to see her in the wood. Of course, now she's not in her human form anymore. She has been turned into a woodpecker. So the children used to see the woodpecker in the wood. They used to see her in the jungle. They used to see her in the branches of a tree, boring hard in order to get her food. So this means that the old lady have to work hard in order to get her food. So once upon a time when she was in her human form, she was enjoying all the comforts of life. But now she has been turned into a bird, so she has to work hard for her food. So dear students, with that we have come to the end of the poem. And this poem actually gives us a very strong message. And the message that the poet wants us to know is that we should not be a miser person. We should be very generous, and with whatever we have, we should be ready to share it with our friends, with our brethren, because Sharing is caring. When we share our things with others, it means that we care for them. And when we do something good to others, children, sometimes we get reward. And this reward may not be always in the monetary form, but we get reward in many things. Like the reward that you get is the inner happiness that you get when you do good to others. You feel happy, you are at peace, and your life becomes happy. But when you are selfish, when you don't want to help others, your life becomes unhappy, your life becomes full of regret. So, dear children, what the author wants us to know is that we should be kind-hearted, we should be loving, we should be caring, and we should give whatever we have to our friends. We should be ready to share our things with them. So with this, we have come to the end of the poem. Students, I hope you have understood it. And for your homework, children, you will go through the poem. You will read the poem line by line in a rhyming manner, and then you will try to comprehend what you're reading. And if you find any difficulty with some words, then you can write it down in the exercise book. Try to find out the meanings. You can take the help of dictionary or any reading materials, whatever you may prefer, and then you will try to understand the poem. And after that, you will give a thorough reading, because you know reading is very important, because good reading enhances good speaking skill. So with that, children, I will take leave of you. I will meet you again in my next class. Thank you, children.